Hi everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing with a couple of the Spellbinders club kits. We're working with the wax seal of the month, and that is what it looks like. Obviously we're going with Christmas in July, I think. And then the stencil of the month actually has 5 stencils and a mask. These 3 go together really well, and you can pair them all up together, and then you have these 2 and this mask. So I'm going to use them separately, but we will get to that when we get to it. We're going to start by pulling in our Waffle Flower mat, and I'm going to put my paper down on top. This measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, so it works perfectly for these stencils. These stencils are just slightly bigger than 4 1/4 by 5.5, and my stencil will stick to that Waffle Flower mat. And then I am going to bring in some Fake Plant ink by Hurley Create, and I'm going to just blend that on with some blending buddies that I have from Trinity stamps. And I'm starting with green. Now, I have seen this done a few different ways, and we can talk about it when we move on to the next part with this particular stencil. But I'm going to set this piece off to the side, clean up my mess, and I'm going to bring in my next piece of cardstock. This is just some craft cardstock. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby. And same thing, it's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I'm going to put down that first stencil that goes together. You're going to make these fun little holly leaves and berries. And once again, we'll bring in our fake plant. As you can see, I've got the present one off to the side. That would work really well on its own, just what I have. But you could also do the other parts that we're going to do later. But while I had my Waffle Flower mat out, my grip mat, I figured I might as well just finish up with this one. So we'll just keep up with that fake plant all over that background. Then we'll peel that stencil away, clean it off, and then I'll bring in the second part of this stencil. And for this one, I'm going to use some black soot. Just wanted to have a nice black ink on that background. What I noticed with this Hobby Lobby paper is that it does do a fairly decent job of bleeding might not be the right word. Yeah, no, it is. They kind of bleed into each other. They bleed out, which is fine. I kind of like the look, but yeah. So, I mean, cheaper paper, it is what it is. All right, so again, blending buddy, black soot. Just doing that all over those branches. I love craft cardstock so much. I just love the look of it on the background. I'm kind of a simplistic person. I like the white. I like the craft. I don't always grab my colored cardstocks anymore, so it's usually those 2. We'll pull that away, clean that off, and then I'm going to bring in the berries. Now, for the berries, I decided to bring in some Hurley Create Bee Sting Lunar paste. And this stuff is absolutely beautiful. So I'll just swirl it around and use a palette knife to get it into each of those little holes. Thankfully, that grip mat does such a good job of holding the stencil into place that I'm not worried about it. And then I'll try and clean that off as best I can with my palette knife. And then I'm going to take the stencil right away to the sink and clean that off. And then I can clean off the rest of it with just a little bit of water and a rag. All right, so you'll notice I am putting the mask down and I'm just sticking it there. I wish I'd used a little bit of pixie spray. I think that would have helped because I do have a little bleed through. And I sprayed some Festive Berries Distress Spray Stain over the top of that. And I didn't want to smear it too much, so I'm going to use some reverse tweezers. And you'll notice there are some spots where it bled underneath. That's okay. It really doesn't bother me. But if it does bother you, some pixie spray or some sort of sticky tape would work really well. You'll notice I did bring in some sentiments. Those sentiments are from a hot foil plate, and it has the matching die to go along with it. I'll have that linked down below. And then we're going to bring in now these are the beads that I got with mine. I don't know what color you're going to get with yours. I think they just kind of randomly do that. I could be totally wrong on that. I got some white ones, and I'm putting those into my little sealed kit from Spellbinders, and I'm heating it with my heat tool. I've said this before, I can't have an open flame. You'll see later why I just can't have an open flame. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this directly onto my card. Now, I know that's kind of taking a risk, but I decided I wanted to try it. And I'm just going to stick my wax seal right into it. You'll notice I kind of did a little circling motion with that. It does kind of go over quite a bit to the word sending. Thankfully, it doesn't cover the S, but yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to use any sort of marker on it or anything. I really like it. I'm going to do another one just for fun, and this time I'm only using 4 beads. When I start out, I usually do 5, but now I'm going to do 4 because I already have some residual at the bottom of that. And once again, just heating that up with my heat tool. There are a couple ways to do it. You could use a tea light, but again, I can't have an open flame. All right, so then I'm just going to make this one on that mat, and those are easy to peel off. It's great. So see, this is why I can't have an open flame. I've got miles here. And that's finishing off both of those cards. I love how those turned out. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I'll see you soon in another video. Bye, everybody.